Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host Ryan, and today we're going to be taking a little look at the latest rumour coming out of the WWE, and that is that they are actually considering having WrestleMania twice a year. So the original rumour came out at the end of last week, and they were talking about WWE hosting a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. As we know, they do the shows in Saudi Arabia a couple of times a year. A lot of money is thrown into it, obviously, by the Saudi prince. Gets, all the big stars on the show. We've seen CM Punk earlier this year after saying he was never going to do Saudi Arabia, obviously, then turning up. Money talks, we know this. So obviously they're throwing money at WWE, saying, come do a WrestleMania. So obviously at first fans, of the US and the UK as well, because, UK fans have wanted a WrestleMania for years. They've had John Cena even suggest that it might have been a possibility a couple of years ago. Triple H has said it a couple of times. They say that they're in talks with the London mayor. That never pays off. We're still waiting on a WrestleMania in the UK. And then obviously the latest reports come out that, it looks like we might get a Saudi Arabia WrestleMania. And then over the weekend, it then progressed to saying that WWE are actually thinking of holding two WrestleManias in a year. So obviously one will be in the US as usual, and one will be in Saudi Arabia. So, it's one of them things where, obviously, because it's a big talking point over the weekend, I was waiting. So I didn't want to put the video out straight away, like a lot of people do. I wanted to take my time, think about it, and, see if there was any, information that came out. And obviously, there's not a lot of information that has come out, because the simple fact is it's dirty talk. We don't know if there's even an actual official offer on the table. But it does seem that Saudi are interested in obviously having a WrestleMania there. We can see what they've done, say over the years with WWE. They've worked alongside the boxing, the UFC. They are trying to put as much money into getting sporting events into the country so that people are watching, and they want to hold obviously the biggest stuff in the world of combat sports, especially. But for me, if you're going to do WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, then it just needs to be normal WrestleMania. I don't think they should have WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. But if they're going to do it, and to be honest with you, as a UK fan, it wouldn't be the end of the world, as obviously we'll be able to watch WrestleMania at 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon rather than 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm all for watching live wrestling earlier in the afternoon than early hours in the morning, because gone are the days when I'm going to stay up watching a wrestling pay-per-view at 1 o'clock in the morning, starts 4, 5 o'clock finish time. Don't do that anymore, because I've got a full-time job and I've got 2 kids, so it just doesn't happen anymore. So I'm not against that. And I feel like if it was actually a WrestleMania pay-per-view and not just one of these glorified house shows, I think the match card would be a lot better. But I am against having WrestleMania twice in a year. And the main reason is because the whole build-up for WWE, their whole year round, is obviously who can get to WrestleMania. One of the build-ups, obviously, for WrestleMania is to win the Royal Rumble. And if you don't get a chance at winning, obviously, the Royal Rumble, then there's always the chance at winning the Elimination Chamber, because that's become a thing over the last few years, where, obviously, if you win the Elimination Chamber, you can challenge for the other championship that the Royal Rumble winner's not winning. Wrestling for winning, always guaranteed. So yeah, it then brings the question, then, are you going to then do 2 Royal Rumbles to have 2 winners to go, obviously, for the titles at WrestleMania, or are you going to do the Royal Rumble for one WrestleMania and then the Elimination Chamber for the other WrestleMania, in the build-ups? It also begs the question as well, is at the moment we have WrestleMania on 2 nights. So would we have to have 2 nights at WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia? Would it reduce the normal WrestleMania down to 1 night, which I think should be a thing anyway? I think 2-night pay-per-views are awful. I don't think a single one for me has hit where they've had 2 nights. It just ends up with both pay-per-views end up having a lot of filler matches, and they could have just stripped it down like SummerSlam this weekend just gone. I don't think we watched a single match from night one. No, didn't watch a single match from night one, just watched night two. And even on night two, there was 2 or 3 matches we skipped. They could have easily condensed that down to one. Not interested at all in 2 night pay-per-views. I even struggled when it was New Japan doing it with Wrestle Kingdom. Again, just half the amount of matches. See, like, this is the problem, like WWE either do like 5 match pay-per-views, or they'll do like 12 matches, 12 matches, 14 matches, or whatever, spread over 2 nights. It's like you can do 6 to 8 matches on a pay-per-view, which is fine. Like, you don't have to do 4 or 5 hour pay-per-views, and like AEW do it, and I enjoy watching AEW's pay-per-views. Sometimes can feel quite long, but a lot of time the action goes from one match to the next. It's all a filler jargon in between that you just don't need, which WWE obviously do a lot of. That's the way they do their programming. And if you think about the amount of filler then over 2 nights, it's just ridiculous. So it begs the question then, would we have a 2-night WrestleMania in the US and then just a 1-night WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia? Would it even be called WrestleMania? Would it? I don't know. I don't know how it works into the calendar year as well. So where does it go? Does it go close to WrestleMania? Do it halfway through the year? Do it near the end of the year? Like, are we going like, so obviously what's normal WrestleMania is like April, isn't it? So what would we do? Like October, November time maybe? Near the end of the year? I don't understand where they'd pencil it in. So obviously that is the talk online at the moment. I'm not overly against WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I think they're going to keep doing Saudi Arabia shows anyway. The glorified house shows that they do at the moment, for me, aren't good. The crown jewels and stuff like that, because I don't feel like they put enough into it. It's just like a glorified show, isn't it? Like what they're doing with the Saturday Night Main Events at the moment. It feels like we've got to pay for you every 2 to 3 weeks at the moment because the amount that they're putting on. I don't think that's the answer. So like the likes of the Crown Jewel pay-per-views and stuff like that aren't great. Like even the King of the Ring ones and that, like, they don't really mean a lot. So the fact that they're thinking of actually putting a proper pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, like, if you're going to keep running Saudi shows, then start doing proper pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia. We don't need glorified house shows. It's just extra, like, events that, let's be honest, don't really mean a hell of a lot. But if you did do a proper pay-per-view there, and I definitely wouldn't start with WrestleMania if you're looking at doing a proper pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia rather than just like your normal, like, your crown jewels and that, then don't start it with WrestleMania. It's the biggest pay-per-view that WWE do of the year. But I am definitely against having 2 WrestleManias. Like, the whole build-up and everything around the year is to try and get onto the WrestleMania card, isn't it? It'd be like doing 2 Super Bowls in a year. It makes absolute zero sense. So I definitely wouldn't do 2 WrestleManias in a year. And while we're on the subject, I hate the 2-night WrestleMania pay-per-view. They need to go back to 1. So let me know, obviously, your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to give us a like, comment, and of course, subscribe to the wrestling group today.